Hey guys! This week in math, we're going to be talking about time. I want you to think about that for just a second. Where do we use time? Why do we use time? What is it needed for? Think about that. You have a time that you wake up in the morning, a time that you eat breakfast, a time you come to school. Our whole day revolves around time. And if we didn't have time, we wouldn't know when to do certain things, like go to lunch or go to bed or brush our teeth. So to introduce time, I'm going to show you a clock. Now I have a really big clock here in my classroom, and there are different parts to this clock. You should have already watched the video with Annie and Moby talking about the parts of the clock. So I have my big clock here, and notice that this clock has these hands. We call these the hands of the clock. This type of clock with the numbers going around and the hands is called an analog clock. Analog clocks have the minute hand and the hour hand. Now, I have a really cool trick that I like to use to remember the different parts of the clock, and I hope they help you too. Now, when you first see a person, what do you notice? Their face. So this part of the clock, this big part of the clock, is called the clock face. Simple, the clock's face. And that's where all of these moving parts and the numbers are going to be on, is the clock face. Now the next part I want you to look at, take a look at the numbers. The numbers go from 1 all the way around to 12. 12 is the biggest number on our clock. And these numbers represent the hour. That is the first number that we say when we tell time. So if I say, I'm going to eat lunch at 12 o'clock, I know that the 12 is the hour. That's the first number I say. Let's say these hours. Ready? Let's start with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And notice that the 12 is at the very tip top of the clock, and the 6 is at the very bottom of the clock. So we call that going clockwise. All right, there are some more parts to this clock that we have to know to tell time. In between these hours, I like to call these little marks right here tick marks. The tick marks are my minutes. We say that after the hour. So let's say we go outside to play at 1:30. 1 would be my hour, the first number I say, and 30 would be the number of minutes. So minutes are these like little tick marks in between the hour. So the big numbers, these whole big numbers are our hours. These little tick marks in between the hours are the minutes. Now, 2 more parts to our clock that we need to know. Take a look at these. Right here in the middle, they look like arms, but we call these clock hands. There's a short clock hand and there's a long clock hand. And my secret to remembering which is which, I say this one is little sister, and this is big sister. So little sister and big sister. But what do they mean? Little sister tells me the hour. Remember, the hours are these big numbers. So whenever it's pointed to 1, I know that that is the hour. Little sister tells me the hour. Big sister is going to tell me minutes. So little sister, hour, big sister, minutes. And I can remember what order they go in because big sister's really nice. She lets the little sister go first. So I'm going to show you some examples of how to tell time to the hour. All right, take a look at my clock. When big sister is pointed all the way up at the sky, on this 12, all the way up, I'm going to say the words o'clock. Can you say that with me? O'clock. And I want you to point your arm way up in the air like it's big sister. When big sister is all the way up at the top of the clock, we read that as o'clock. Now remember, big sister's really nice, so she lets little sister say her number first. So what number is little sister pointing to? This big number here. 7. So little sister's going to say her number first. 7. And then big sister says o'clock when she's pointed straight up. So let's say that time. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Easy peasy, right? Pretty easy. All right, let's try another one. Remember, big sister lets little sister say her number first. The hour. And if big sister is pointed straight up at the top of the clock, we say o'clock. That means 0 minutes have passed. O'clock. So little sister says her hour first. What number is little sister pointing to? 9. 9 o'clock. That's what time I like to go to bed. 9 o'clock. Let's try one more. I'm going to show you. I'm going to keep my my minute hand, my big sister still, and I'm going to turn. Oh, little sister's hiding behind big sister. But we always let little sister say her number first. Little sister's pointing at the 12, and big sister's pointing straight up, o'clock. We eat lunch at 12 o'clock. So on slide number 2 or page number 2, you're going to be given a clock, and there's going to be some words at the very bottom of your screen. What you're going to do is I'm going to tell you what the words say at the bottom of your screen, and I want you to drag the words to the parts of the clock. We're not going to be telling time today. We're going to be doing that more tomorrow. But today I want us to focus on the parts of a clock. Remember, these big numbers here, those are our hours. The tick marks or the little numbers that are going to be between our hours are the minutes. What was this whole clock right here called? The clock face. And then we have little sister tells the hour, that's the hour hand. Big sister is the minute hand.